My name is Jarie Bolander. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Ethos Podcast. On this podcast, we're going to take a deep dive into the traits, values, beliefs, and skills of all sorts of entrepreneurs to learn how to build a more ethical, inclusive, and resilient world. Let's get started. Eliran Bar, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jarie. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Sean Gold got us in connection. The man, the myth, the legend, as I like to say, because boy, that guy's connected to everyone on the planet.
Everyone.
I mean, he even high-fived Alex Trebek. How cool can that be?
Yeah.
So you are the co-founder of Journey, which is a really super interesting company. There's been a lot of talk about, folks in kind of middle age, Gen X, boomers that are sort of retiring or looking for what I like to call their like second or third wave of what the hell does life mean, right?
Yeah.
And you over at Journey help people kind of do that and sort of live sort of life with purpose, I think. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that. But before we do all that, as I always like to say, again, I only have one question, pretty simple, right? Tell us how you got to do what you're doing today.
Oh, wow. That's a long, my journey. So
Yes.
I think I'm a little bit unusual in the way I'm doing things since ever. I am doing a lot of activities, a lot of sport. I did a couple of Ironmans, flying airplanes, gliders, riding motorcycles around the world, constantly snowboarding, any kind of activities. People usually calling it extreme activities. I'm calling it just I'm professional beginner, just doing everything every time something else, challenging myself, living very out of my comfort zone. So I guess I just realized recently, the last couple of years, that people not usually doing it. So people usually living their own life, family, college, family, kids, mortgage, career, but they are not pushing themselves to do things a little bit out of their comfort life, out of the box, pushing boundaries. And I got to the point that just thought maybe I'll help other people to find some purpose, find some meaning, or get out of challenging their life, find a new purpose, a new goals. Not necessarily climbing the Himalaya, but sometimes, it's a small thing. You're doing a lot of people doing hiking, right?
Right.
Many people. It doesn't matter how old are you. You're doing hiking, but why to not take it a little bit further? Why not to do it like a week hiking? Why to not do it with people like-minded? How to connect with other people in this age? It's very hard to expand your social life in this age. You don't have your friends from college anymore. People busy with their life, kids. So it's become to be very challenge for us in such an age to find a new friends, make a new friends that like the same things, and that's how we come with this venture, with this concept.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit before we hit record about how you were on like a 5-month motorcycle trip through Europe. And that's like, oh, I guess we're going to found a company like during the trip, which I think is really cool in terms of experiencing, like, this is what the experiences I want people to do or to have. Tell us about that. Cause boy, it must be pretty tough to like found a company while you're on the road on a motorcycle,
Yeah, that was really challenging. The concept came up a little bit earlier, but because everything was really slow with developing and setting up all the company, hiring people. So I decided, why to not ship my bike from Manhattan, where I'm living, to Europe and just doing it while riding? And it's easy to say, I started to do that. I shipped my bike to Portugal, and 5.5 months I was riding during the weekends and building the company from scratch, from zero in the weekdays, hiring people, firing people, building the concept, the strategy with my brother, which is my main co-founder, one of the pillar of the company. And it was really challenging. Everything together. It's on one side, it's the riding and exploring and moving through 18 countries in 5.5 months, 90,000 kilometers during crazy rain, amazing views and cities, meet people. That's on one hand. And other hand, you build a company. So you build a strategy, you build the concept. It's a lot of challenge with investors, with money, fundraising. What kind of fundraising you want to do? What kind of investors you want to bring in? Big investors. You want to give more shares now, a little bit less shares. It's a lot of things to do, especially when you're riding motorcycles during the time. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. No, it's interesting. I kind of like the whole go off on the journey that you're
yeah,
building. Like it's funny because I have a friend who is big into sabbaticals. In fact, I think is he what professor at Harvard, and he talks about in the entrepreneur program, talks about sabbaticals, like or in the business school or something. It's like, why would you have someone talk about sabbaticals in a business school, right? But his theory or his hypothesis or whatever you want to call it is that those breaks help you re-energize yourself to go to the next thing. What I find fascinating about your company journey is like, you're right, at a certain age, I'm 50, 52, the amount of friends, they come and go, I mean, it's just part of life, but really having that real experience of like-minded folk of trying to, what's next, right? Um,
yeah.
it's not all about work. It's all about, again, the journey, right? The journey that you're on. I just find it fascinating that you just decide, okay, I'm just going to live it. Like, this is what I'm going to build a company that's going to allow people to do this. And I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. You got to prove something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, same with the Iron Man, right? Like, I did an Iron Man too, way back when.
Mhm.
And, it's like a 20-hour a week type training. I was like a part-time job. It's like, everyone's like, why are you doing this? And it's like, because I can, like you said, right? Because I can.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You know,
And I find it fascinating. So, I mean, what were some of the lessons as you're, going through this journey? I mean, you talked about the weather and trying to build the company, but I mean, what were some of those aha moments? What were because the reason I bring this up is a lot of folks that are wanting to start a company, they don't know where to start. They don't know what's their inspiration. It sounds like this was your inspiration to like, let's go.
I think it's come from two different angles. The first angle is actually the idea itself. I think the best, they say that 90% of the startup doesn't, they never came up to the world. So I think those 10% of the startup coming from a real deep passion, something that really came inside that you never gave up. I got so many times like, man, this is too big. Like this is like it's like Amazon. It's like it's big. How are you going to do that? We are going for a huge fundraising. Like it's operation, and people come back and say, investors come back and say, let's start small. Let's do like a small Airbnb. Let's do like a traveling agent. No, I'm going big or I'm going home, and that's really came from a passion, from a place that I really believe, not just what I'm doing, that I really going to change something. And if you don't love what you're doing, if you are not totally into it, 100%, 1,000%, believe it, don't do it at all. You just waste of time. It's a waste of time. That's my approach. As I said, I'm from Israel. It's called, we are calling it. It's called the startup nation. And I think that's make it a little bit different because we really believe in it and we are going all the way, no stop.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
not, not doing it at all.
Yeah. It's interesting that it's like the a lot of the metaphor people use is, I don't remember, it was Ponce de Leon or someone that like they burned the boats. They got to wherever and they just burned the boats and they said, we're in it to win it, right? And it's interesting, that mentality. I mean, you know, there's certain who knows how much lore that is or whether or not, whatever that happened. But I do like the idea of committing to the journey, because I firmly believe that being an entrepreneur is hard. One of the hardest jobs in the world, because you're creating something literally from nothing.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing in the world to do. I mean, I always say we're the creatives of the business world. It's like, it's just hard. But I think it's not only is it hard, it's extremely rewarding. But I also think that this whole idea of the journey, because it's always fits and starts and zigs and zags and things go wrong. Like, I've been at like 6, 7 startups. I've lost track. It's like, well, that one went this way and then went that way. But I've always like been stacking up the skills, or I've been like leveling up like what I'd be able to do. So I'm just curious if you feel the same way. Like, yeah, you don't know where the future is going to hold, but hey, I generally know I'm kind of going that way, and I kind of know this is what I need to do. And hey, if I zig and zag along the way, it'll be fun.
I'll connect my answer to your previous question, which I didn't answer fully. And I'm going to connect it with my traveling in Europe now. And you asked me before how it came up together. And it's remind me when I was driving and I was riding up north to North Cap. It's the northeast point of Europe during a crazy rain. And and nobody's there. Everything is dark, and the rain going, all directions, and you don't see anything, and you're on a bike and on a motorcycle. So in some point, I just asked myself why. Like all my friends watching TV with a beer and legs on the coffee table. So why in the hell I'm here?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's actually the answers, because I think some the people they love so much what they are doing, they don't care about anything else. It doesn't see anything. It's anything else. It's like, like the horses have these kind of blinders, and they just see one thing. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about it. I hear everyone's opinion, but I will do it my way. And that's what happened in my traveling, and that's what happened in this company as a co-founder, and that's the way I'm doing things. I'm just pushing it, and it's good to hear other people opinions and to listen to other people experience. But in the end of the day, you need to go with your feelings, with your stomach, with your passion.
Yeah.
And I think every experience and successful entrepreneur, he will tell you the same.
Yeah.
You will get a lot of obstacles, a lot of other people opinions, mostly from people that didn't do anything in their life. And you need to find your way to do that.
Yeah. Everyone has an opinion. I
Right.
mean, and that's great. Like, have an opinion. I'm totally fine with that. That's like critics. I also write books, right? Most people know that.
Yeah.
And, reviews have a real sore spot for me sometimes, because like you put your entire work, like your passion into this thing, and then someone doesn't get it and they give you a bad review, and you're kind of like, you didn't get it. Like,
Yeah.
and then you realize, oh, well, it's just
It's
not
so
for
good.
them. Yeah. It's just not for them. Right. And yeah, having an opinion, tell me that this is crazy. That's crazy. I don't like this. That's great. But I think the one quote that I love, that's from Teddy Roosevelt, and it's about, the man in the arena, right? Or the woman in the arena. Like, you got to respect the person that's stepping into the arena and trying. Like, I have a lot of respect for those that try, even if they fail. I mean, it's such a hard thing to kind of put yourself out there. Anyone that publishes anything, that creates art, creates a company, like, good on you. Like, yes, it's good to hear the critics, because sometimes if you hear like enough, like, oh, I've heard this 7 times. Okay, maybe I should pay attention to it. I mean, I'm sure you've had that before. It's like, oh, that's probably a maybe I should not get this out of my skull, right? I just find it's, to your point, really, what's the why? Like what's in your heart and in your soul?
I
I think
think
a lot
one
of
of the thing is when you're getting those kind of opinions, you also need to ask yourself, okay, but what I really get from it? So like, it's something that I can deal with. It's something, if someone telling you, look, I don't see the market, I don't see the potential. Okay, it's one thing. Go again. Don't tell anybody. Go again. Check again the market. Check again the opportunity. Check again the
yeah,
number. But
yeah,
if someone telling you, oh, man, it's too big. What does it mean too big? Like,
yeah.
you know, like this is not opinion. This is like
Yeah, yeah.
this is like
There's no quantitative measure of too big.
yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I've been like down the rabbit hole on this thing called category design. There's this great Substack called Category Pirates, and these guys are just A+ when it comes to thinking different about marketing. And they're like, hey, define a category of one that you can own, and then just crush it. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Just crush your own category, right?
Yeah.
Completely and utterly counterintuitive to every marketing thing you ever read. And I love it because it's like, you're right. You're 100% right. But it takes courage to like, just like what you did, it takes courage to be like, no, this is my thing. And people cannot handle that. And mostly I've found, my opinion, right? Mostly I've found is that those people that criticize or have the too big, it's not jealousy. I think what they're trying to do is just validate their worldview, because they can't take the risk you took. Their mentality is just, I'm going to do the corporate COGS thing or whatever it is. And again, hey, if that's you, that's you.
Yeah.
But respect who I am.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think when I'm getting some kind of response, I'm not sure I'm pretty sure it's actually that it's not coming from a bad place. It's coming from sometimes, from family members. They are not looking for something, to spoil what I'm doing or to push me out of that. Like, check it again. Are you sure you're doing it? You're not wasting your time. You're not, maybe find some normal job like a normal person. So I'm not sure it's coming from bad place, but I think, I got to the age, you said that you're 52, I'm 51, we're almost the same place.
Yep.
You're getting to the point that you're just doing your own thing, you're following your own passion, your own journey, you build yourself, and you know when you don't need to give up, and when you should give up. Sometimes it's just the right thing to do, but sometimes you help people, around you. I'm divorced, so I know what does it mean to be entrepreneur all my life and build things from scratch. Sometimes, you don't want to do that, but you are covered up to your head with work and tasks and everything. It's come on other people place. So we need to take it into account.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I don't know how many times my family's like, you do what again? Can't you just get a normal, right? Can't you just get a normal job? Well, partly because they're worried about you. I mean, I think the whole, like, having a spouse is like the best analogy or best example of this. Like, if there's, other than your mom and dad, your spouse has got a pretty high vested interest in your success. So like, there is going to be some, like, if they're not bought into the fact that you're doing these shenanigans, right? Like, but there's also those dynamics of, are you really, are they in it for the right reason? But I do like that, the thought of, it's feedback, especially on an entrepreneur journey, this whole big market thing. I mean, just think of all the stuff that wasn't a market before it was a market, like a smartphone.
Right.
Like streaming video. Yeah. Who would have thought that you wanted, the one I love the best that I literally was the most like curmudgeon about. It's like, why do I need a camera on my stupid phone?
Yeah.
Why would I ever take a picture on my phone? And then it's like, can't not have it. Right.
That's it's exactly like Facebook. Like, if I would tell you like 20 years ago, let's connect with the 5,000 people that you don't know, and that will they will be your friends. What? Like, what's that?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, who would I know? Like the internet or a computer. Like, so yeah, I mean, I get that a lot. I mean, well, I when I look at criticism, so when people ask me about their entrepreneur journey, like, hey, when should I quit? Right. I love the analogy of the Iron Man because we're both finished in Iron Man. So you sort of know, are you hurt or are you injured? So
Yeah.
hurt means mentally I'm not get, but if you're injured, like, am I really gonna like do permanent damage? So I always think, am I hurt or am I injured? And that to me is, do I just need to push a little harder because I'm in a bad spot? I mean, life, you're bonking, you're on the bike or you're like running and you're just like, I just don't want to be here anymore. And is it like, okay,
I
do I
want
take,
home.
right? I want to go home. Like, do I take a knee? Do I walk? Do I take some more, because as an endurance athlete, there are moments where your body is literally like, this is the dumbest thing you're doing. And it takes every bit of willpower
Yeah.
to take that next step. And I think for entrepreneurship, it's the same way. It's like, can I just take one more step? Can I make it to the light pole? Can I
Right.
make it to the water station?
Yeah.
That was like constantly in my mind. Okay, just another goo packet. Okay, take in another bottle of water because you're just depleted. So
But
I just
that's excellent example, by the way. I never thought about it like that. But yeah, if you make it to the next water station, okay, I done that. Now I have enough energy to keep going, and that's exactly what entrepreneurs doing.
yeah, yeah.
They're just stopping from time to time, doing another fundraising, doing another step, another milestone, and just keep going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, not, I mean, I don't know how many entrepreneurs are actually, endurance athletes, but I always love that kind of analogy because there has been times, and I'm sure in your career as well, where you just like, gosh, I just want to quit.
Yeah,
I don't want to do this anymore. It's too hard. I don't have enough money. I can't raise funds. I've heard no for the 10 billionth time. You can't get the code done. Like all these things. And and when I think about it, I feel like I'm bonking on mile 20 of the marathon. And I literally got to like go back into my own world and be like, okay, what do I got to do this second? And then
yeah,
when I get past second, what do I get to do in this next minute? And it's so mentality. So I'm just curious if,
yeah.
obviously through this journey, I'm sure there's been struggles. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, yeah, I feel related to anything you're saying, but I will tell you the truth. And I did many different projects and positions in my life. In this situation, the specific this situation, our company journey, beside the fact that it's big, I never felt that maybe I should stop or stop to think about it or check again. We know the market, it's huge. And I know most of the startups in the world are struggling with marketing share,
Mhm. Mhm.
and market share, and the opportunity and the numbers. In this situation, all those questions are not relevant. We are targeting a huge marketing, and I never thought maybe I'm not in the right place. In fact, we got investors in 5 days. We finished the fundraising.
Wow.
Yeah, and we are in a good place with the fundraising. Moving to the main fundraising now. So yeah, there is a struggling also when you are athlete. There are struggling when you are entrepreneur all the time. But the question if to stop or not never was part of my daily routine in this company. I did before that. I was vice president of a Kabbalah Center. I don't know if you're familiar with. It's a
Mhm.
huge organization, almost $1 billion organization, and you have a lot of cracking on the way. So you need
Yeah.
to deal with that. You need to deal with the board. You need to deal with budgeting. It's a lot of things going on. Uh, I think in this situation, we're already 21 people in the company in Journey. We are all so committed to the process. We are all really feel that we're going to change the way people will retire or people will live their second half of their life.
Mhm.
So there is no even stop here. We are not even slowed down. If something doesn't go in one way, immediately we are tackling it from a different way, different angle. So that's a little bit different from this specific situation. And I think it's bring up all our conversation when you are getting obstacles. Sometimes if you're not sure about what you're doing, it's drag you back. So you're saying, okay, 1 second, but I already heard 7 times you are not in the right place. It's a market, is that? So, but if you're really feel that you are really going to change something, and there is no question about the market size. So it's drive you to keep going like athletes.
Yeah.
I'm get to the finish line. Doesn't matter, dead or alive. I'm going to
Let's
be.
hope. Let's hope not.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think it's really interesting. It's this commitment to the goal in the problem or solving the problem or whatever it is. Like it's not necessarily the because I hear this all the time. Like it's not like I'm committed to the product per se. I'm committed to the outcome, the goal to solve this problem.
right.
And so that I think is the one thing that if I could tell every entrepreneur, it's the attitude that you just described. It's like
Yeah,
I am passionate about solving this problem. I am passionate about this thing.
yeah.
I don't really care how I solve it. I'm not in love with my technology. I'm not in love. I'm just like, this is the thing. And I think that's the mindset that it allows you to work through the zigs and the zags. I mean, there's always going to be problems, right?
And
People
yeah.
don't believe, they'll believe or not.
And I will give you a great example to what you just said. My previous position, I was the CEO of another startup. We start from nothing. It doesn't matter the market itself. I left there when the company made $14.5 million revenue. But I left there because I didn't feel that I'm doing anything. So I was just another company in the market, fighting on some share from the market, doing some money, maybe more than others or less than others. Nothing really special. Like nothing drive you wake up in the morning and fighting. And I just left. Like okay, whatever.
Wow.
And and actually this concept came up during my time there, and I just started to work on that when I left my previous position. And here I really feel that I'm going to change something. It doesn't matter. It's taking me much more time. My previous position, we already make money. At this point, 1 year, we already the company already exists. My previous position, we already make good money, but I'm not afraid. Like I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I know that I'm going to really change people's life. It's bigger than us. So if you wake up in the morning and you feel that what you're doing it's actually bigger than you, than yourself. So I think it's drive you more than any money or or position or titles. That's what driving entrepreneurs. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the folks that come up with the bigger mission, the higher good. I mean, I call it the higher good or the big idea or whatever you want to call it, where it's really not about the company you're building. It's about the movement, the just this thing that will live beyond you.
Right. Yeah.
I actually interviewed a high school friend of mine, is a guy named Leland. He works at Lucasfilms. He's the one of the Star Wars experts there. Like literally,
Okay.
his job is to like understand the entire Star Wars universe.
Oh, I'm
He's the
jealous.
keep. Yeah, he's keeper of the holocron. It's huge. It's crazy, right? He's keeper of the holocron for anybody that knows that. But he's also something called a lore keeper, and there are people in the world that their job is to keep the lore of a world, like Marvel universe. Like there's people that like understand the interactions, right? And when we were talking, there's a lot of entrepreneurial lessons in how George Lucas created the Star Wars franchise and Industrial Light and Magic. It's like fascinating to me, right? And I know him, like I went to high school. I mean, we went to junior high together, right?
Yeah.
And but the thing that was really fascinating about what he said, he's like, Star Wars will live on after I'm dead because we built this thing. And he was really proud of that. And I'm like, yeah, like, what is it that will outlast you? I think it's a very noble goal. I mean, obviously, if it's for the good of humanity, but like, yeah, what will outlast you? And I think that mentality, that helps you get through a lot of stuff. That's like, we got to raise money. But it's like the greater good. Just so interesting that you would put it that way too. I like that because it's true, I think.
But I'm coming from a different vibe because they said, again, I need to raise the money. No, I'm doing it really different. Yeah, I need to raise money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's more like, well, of course people are going to give me money. Yeah, let's go. Right.
Yeah,
Well,
let's go. If
yeah,
you don't
let's do it.
want to invest money, it's your problem.
Yeah, your problem, not mine.
You'll see me in the news.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think the confidence is interesting too. Confidence in like the mission, the greater good, the beyond you. I like that. I think that's very important. I also think it's also helps with, knowing that it's about you, but not about you. I think that's also critical because a lot of times, especially young entrepreneurs, stuff goes wrong. They take it personal. Like, oh, no one wants my. It's like, man, this gig is so hard. People, it is rare. It is rare to like hit a unicorn or a Pegasus unicorn or whatever you call it. Like, it's like 1% of funded startups. So you got to be pretty dedicated. And more importantly, there has to be a realization that this is a high stakes game. And if you get wrapped up in the high stakes game of the company, the company fails, whatever, it's going to be hard. But if you get wrapped up in the bigger idea, then you're happy, even if, hey, I want this to happen. I'm going to do it, but I would love for other people to come along for the ride. So interesting.
Yeah. That's why I don't think entrepreneur can be someone that doing it part-time or after work hours. Me in person, I never heard about someone that really succeed with something like that he's doing like partially, like a couple of hours a day. You're all in or you're all out. That's how it works. And that's what we're doing. We are working like 20, sometimes 20 hours a day, all of us. And I think that's the right way. That's the only way to go. There is no short way here.
Yeah. And it's interesting because people talk about work-life balance, right? And as an entrepreneur, it's like more like work-life harmony because the balance is not there. Like if you're, to your point, you're so passionate about something, it consumes you. And I think more importantly, when you are passionate about something, then you need to build it. Sometimes you just need to build it. Like everyone asks me, like, hey, how do you write a book? Right? I said, the hardest part about writing a book is getting the first draft done. Like what I call draft zero. The reason why it's so important, so powerful to get draft zero done is because it's your idea on the page that now lives somewhere. And people procrastinate and they have this idea of it has to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, man, just get the idea on the ground, like get it on the page, right? And I've found that with entrepreneurs, they just like, I got to get this done. Like there's a drive, like it's in the soul. It's like, no, this has to happen. Like, and you take breaks when you take breaks, I think, but I think there's a lot of, how do you do the balance when I think that's more the harmony?
I'll tell you how I'm doing the balance. Sometimes when I feel that I'm overwhelmed and there's too many things going on in the same time, and you have employees and you have investors behind you, and you need to do that and you need to do that. Sometimes I totally disconnected for 1 or 2 hours, not telling anybody, doing something totally not relevant, like totally in the middle of the day, just going to the beach, going something, reading a book in the middle of the day, everything calling. I'm not working ER. So, if something happened, I will deal with it in 1 hour, not a week. So I know how to, when it's come to the pace that you need to balance yourself, to not go crazy, to not crack, to not break, you need to find your own sweet spot where to get back to your normal, to your comfort zone. And everyone have a different place. Maybe someone else will say, I need a weekend for that. I don't know. But for me, in the middle of the day, I just disconnect myself. Not every day, but when it's come to really overwhelmed, I'm just disconnect myself for to 1 hour doing totally different subject. Watch movie in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's, you got to find I call it the taking a knee, right? Like, if you're ever in sports, it's like, take a knee and let's like think about this. And I have a hard time with what you just said, because I like tend to like work a lot. And I'm trying to get into the mindset of like, look, I got to take a knee. Like, what is it that is going to recharge me, get me back to baseline? And what I've found, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, just have better ideas. Like when I disconnect, take a knee or walk around or think about something, read a book or whatever, I just come back refreshed in a way that's like, oh yeah, I can fix this now. Yeah, let's just make it. So I'm just curious if that's what you feel, if that's how it works for you.
Yeah, it's probably the same result with different way. People doing retreats, people doing other things, just disconnect themselves. Yeah, I think we're doing we're getting to the same result from different angles. What I'm doing, if I need to do like a 1 hour disconnect myself, it's exactly like you, just backward, just let's focus on something else. Let's tackle it from different angle.
Yeah.
But you cannot do that if you are just keep thinking about it and say, okay, let's crack it. And I'm using a lot of my sports time. If I'm going out in the morning for running 2 hours, so I'm very rarely taking music with me, because I'm using the time to deal with things, to do those thoughts and connect to the problems. If I feel that I'm not getting to the right solutions, I'm just putting it aside, doing the running, and I start to think about something else, other subject, other items, other tasks. And if I sometimes I'm coming back with beautiful ideas and just doing doing what I feel that I need to do. And sometimes you don't, but at least you at the time, your quality time with yourself, silence, without a phone, emails, other interruptions, and just deal with the task.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's my way. I
Yeah.
think it's almost the same, like you
Yeah.
described.
Yeah. It's like an integration of the
Yeah,
issue.
right.
Like I always think about integration time as, reflection and thought provoking. Like I sometimes meditate. I'm really bad at it. I should do it more. But, like there's times I'll take a nap because like I need to process it. So I know when I'm at the point where processing is getting really bogged down and I'm like, I got to stop because, and I normally would just push through that when I was younger. And I found that if I don't reset or don't integrate or don't take a break, I get pushed over the edge so far that I just latch up and I can't come back.
Right.
And this is, I think, age as well as just like, what do I got to prove sometimes? Like, I just need to take a break, but I think that's the one thing that endurance athletics has taught me. Hey, sometimes walk a little bit. Sometimes, like take the time, do an assessment. Hey, do I feel okay? How am I feeling? There's lots of that type of thing that I think is super important. That especially when you're younger, you just think, oh, I just got to work. And hey, sometimes you do,
Yeah.
right? Because
sometimes you should.
yeah, and sometimes you should because you don't know what you're doing. Like you're making something from nothing. Who knows how to do this? I don't know. Okay, let's go figure it out. But I like that. I like just like the idea of taking the knee, taking the time. I'm working on this. It's hard for me, but I'm glad to hear that it's like another thing that you've done as well. Like it's this reinforcement of, oh yeah, I think I'm on the right track. Again, what do I know? I just guy on the podcast trying to figure it out just like everyone else, right?
And sometimes I'm also offering it to my employees, the people that working with me, not always my employees, sometimes co-workers. If you don't have answers, if you don't have solution, maybe you need to give it a little bit time. You don't have to have the answer right now. You can wait 2 hours. Just do something else, and just come back to the situation, come back to the task from with a fresh angle, with a fresh thoughts. And I think if we need to take something from this conversation for new entrepreneurs, so I think that's one of the most important things: how to balance your time, your effort, your thoughts, and get the maximum from it.
Yeah, I agree. And great place to end. Appreciate your time. It's fantastic. Good luck with Journey, on your journey with Journey. How cool is that? Ha ha ha. And yeah, stay safe, and looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Thank you very much, Jarie, and it was a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Entrepreneur Ethos Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did creating it. My hope is that you learned something that can make you a little bit better. If you enjoyed the podcast, please do share it with friends and review it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also join my email list by visiting theentrepreneurethos.com to get my thoughts on what I'm doing to get better, as well as what I'm working on. You can also pick up my book, The Entrepreneur Ethos, if you want to learn the traits, values, and beliefs that I think we need to build a more ethical, inclusive, and resilient entrepreneur and, frankly, world community. Feel free to follow me on Twitter @TheDailyMBA and let me know if you have any questions or recommendations for a guest you'd like me to talk to. Also, drop me a note if you try anything we talked about on this or any other episode. I'd love to hear what's working for you. Until next time, keep getting better.